So, I wanted to discuss Amazon today. Amazon is the biggest company in the world. And think about maybe 5 years ago when you ordered something online, when would it come? I mean, you'd have to wait at least a week, 2 weeks, right? If you rushed it, because that's 7 to 14 days, you have to pay express shipping.
Right.
But I mean, if you rushed it, you can get it in 3-5 days, and that was quick. Now it's Prime, get it the next day.
Get it next
What
day.
type of work has to go into you order the product, you pay for it, and now an order goes out, someone has to take it off whatever rack it is, whatever line it is, throw it into the correct truck so that you can get it to your house within the next day. That is an amazing system. So obviously there's going to be some drawbacks to that system. And unfortunately, who pays for that? The worker. Remember when I believe it was Domino's and or maybe other pizza companies, 30 minutes or less or what? Or it's free.
Right.
And why did they stop that? So you have these delivery people trying to get to their destination in 30 minutes or less. They're running red lights. They're running stoplights. Their goal is to get paid and get a tip, right?
There's some safety that goes out the window.
There's safety
when the
issues.
number one goal is to do something as quickly as possible.
Correct. What other business out there, whether it be Walmart, whether it's next day shipping? I mean, I'm not aware of it. Maybe you are. But is there another type of business out there that's like, hey, you order it today, we'll get it to you by tomorrow?
So this is a prime example.
This is a prime example of how a company could put their customers first, and in turn, their employees suffer.
There were so many injuries at Amazon that I think that the statistic that's being reported was one that Amazon felt they needed to put out.
Right.
Because of how many injuries go on there.
Right.
And as you were saying before, it's about get your packages, get your Prime. We want now. It's not robots that are doing those jobs. It's people, and they're doing repetitive type work.
Yeah.
Whatever the Washington Post told us, which is Jeff Bezos's paper.
Well, it says worse than average rates in the warehouse industry.
So he's reporting that he is the worst warehouser in terms of injury rates in the United States.
Maybe he's proud of it. In 2020, it said that it dropped by 43%. So they're still worse than average,
right?
But they dropped. I mean,
okay,
imagine how bad they were before.
Amazon you were nearly twice as likely to get injured at Amazon prior to 2020, and now they've cleaned up their act a little bit.
Well, it says there that it invested $300 million into, I guess, a program preventing injury or illness.
Okay.
So $300 million, admirable, but they're still much higher than any other warehouse type job, correct?
Amazon is also using contractors to make those deliveries happen.
Right.
It's reported in the news release from the Washington Post that contractors are not included in the injury rates for their deliveries. But it's also interesting if the contractors are contracting with Amazon to deliver and they don't meet their quotas, what are those quotas looking like? And is it looking like a Domino's situation all over again?
Someone's putting in a lot of work. Someone is putting in a lot of work sorting, pushing, carrying, pushing, pulling, lifting, right?
So all those jobs, they're very strenuous. So
Right.
Amazon's not 100% robotic as some of us believe. There are people in those jobs that are picking every single one of those packages. And that's a strenuous job. And we've represented dozens of pickers that work at Amazon that have developed these types of work-related injuries.
Right.
So, and that's what we were discussing last time in episode number 1 was treatment at the medical clinic. And you might be an Amazon worker and you've been injured from just repetitively picking. And guess what? You're part of the statistic that you're likely to be injured if you work at Amazon. So when you're seeing those dollar figures, when they're saying, hey, we'll pay you $22 an hour to come and work for Amazon, just understand there's a greater risk of injury just in the nature and type of work that you're doing. So if you work for Amazon, you're going to have your case adjusted by Sedgwick, a Sedgwick adjuster.
Right.
But the Sedgwick adjuster is just going and reporting back to the safety or risk management at Amazon, and Amazon's really calling the shots.
These types of situations fall directly into what we were talking about before, the continuous trauma, right? So what is continuous trauma? We'll review. A continuous trauma is if you have to do repetitive duties, no matter what they are, lifting, pushing, standing, whatever those duties are, if they're repetitive enough and you do them for a long period of time, you're going to have wear and tear on your body, causing injuries.
And that's an injury
Correct.
that qualifies under workers' compensation, a cumulative trauma injury.
Correct.
And these are the types of injuries that are arising at Amazon where there's quotas that the employees have to meet. You have to do so many per hour.
Right.
And those are the repetitive duties that you're describing, I think.
Right. And then those are repetitive duties that would lead us into this topic that we're going to discuss today, which is an offer that's made, that's posted on places in the bathroom, break room, whatever the case might be, where Amazon actually offers you money to quit.
I'm calling out to C11, who has put up several videos on
Yes.
Amazon.
Yeah, I saw
and
those.
we want C11 to come on and give us kind of more background information on the offer and how it goes down and how many people take it and what's his experience, because I know that he puts a lot of videos out about Amazon.
He does, and I watched one of his videos. It was really informative. I'll touch on a couple points that he touched on, and he was saying that from what I understood, he doesn't recommend you take the offer. And from what I understand of the offer, I don't either. As a work comp attorney, as an attorney in general, it's not a good decision because it's going to affect your future. Now, I've discussed this with several people, and it seems like Amazon is not going to stop at the things they already own. From the video that I saw from C11, they own Whole Foods. Did you know that?
I did find that out recently, actually.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
So they own Whole Foods. Apparently, they own 30 plus subsidiaries or affiliated companies. So what does that mean?
Amazon says, well, we don't want you to take the offer. I think that there's some deception there because I think they do want some people to take the offer because that's why you make the offer. So just the messaging is a little deceptive in my opinion. And it's aimed at people who have maybe injury situations like cumulative traumas who they don't want working for them ever again. I think they're trying to get rid of injured people and people who can't hack it. So it's like if you're thinking of taking the offer, it may be because you're feeling like this work is too strenuous for me, which is what, in my experience, representing a lot of Amazon employees, that is the way that they feel. So now they're thinking to take the offer, but they're having pain and they just have never had any medical treatment. So what they end up doing is they end up taking the offer and resigning. No medical treatment. They haven't reported the problem. They took the offer because they were having the problem. And I think that maybe there's some injury cases that get post-termed. The employer is post-termination.
That is a defense that the employer, the insurance company can use. The post-termination defense is basically, and why are you bringing a claim now when you never sought medical treatment, when you never reported it, when you didn't seek us out to give you medical treatment and help you out? You quit or you resign or we terminate you, and now you have an issue with your body, or now you finally find that you have injuries. We don't buy that. That's a defense that the insurance companies use, that employers use, and that is a viable defense in court. We can talk about how to overcome that, and we can talk about how that's not always the best defense to use for the insurance company and the employers, but in actuality, it is a defense. They save a lot of money in litigation. Once again, the employee might think, well, I quit, I resigned. So they might not seek out, help from an attorney. I think that's one of the reasons. The second reason is if you signed a resignation letter, it could limit the rights you have under employment law, which is completely different. We're not going to get into that today. So be very careful about that.
Right. So it's not just about work injuries when you're resigning. It's also about other employment violations
Correct.
that might exist. So probably speak to a lawyer before you take the offer. Because like I was saying before, it's a little deceptive that they're saying, well, we don't want you to take it. Well, then why are you offering it? So, and the employment issues are really important too.
They are. But if it's a whole year that includes a peak season, you're eligible for $1,000 if you want to quit your job. Now, if you work 2 peak seasons, that adds another $1,000. It's $1,000 for every peak season you work. Is that correct?
I think that that's correct.
Right.
I believe that that's correct. That's what C11 put on his videos. And I know that it was correct last year, but I'm not sure if they changed it for 2022. It could be more. In fact, if someone's out there and you work for Amazon and you're watching this video, please drop a comment down and put up what they're offering for 2022. It might be over. I know that we're in February now, but I believe that it's still going on. But of course, anytime you're having repetitive work, you're going to have potential injuries under cumulative trauma, which is a valid type of work injury in California, qualifying for all of the benefits that a specific injury qualifies for.
I think there's more cumulative traumas than there probably is specific injuries. Although, a specific injury can happen very easily, I think, there, because I have seen, pictures of the warehouses, videos of the warehouses, and everything's stacked up, and they have to reach whatever they need to reach, to bring it down, put it on the line belt, get it out to the customer like we discussed as quickly as possible. So if a box falls on you, or if someone's not careful doing their job and something falls down on them, then that would be a specific injury, right? Or if you move incorrectly, you get your hand caught in something, get it crushed, that's a specific injury, something that happened on a certain day, certain time, a specific incident. But I wanted to say we are in February, but I have been getting a lot of Happy New Year still. So, it's never too late.
Yeah, there might be some out there who are lying low because of Omicron.
Right.
And of course, that's a consideration, but hey, you're at home and you see, you come across our channel and you say, hey, I have questions. You give us a call. The offer is taxed like just normal income. So they're going to take how the payroll company that Amazon uses, what do they call those exemptions?
Exemptions, yeah.
They're going to take that and they're going to figure out, if you make this much money extra for this period, how much are we going to have to withhold under the law for the federal government, for Social Security? All that money is fully taxed. And that's something that happens in employment law too. When you get a settlement under certain types of causes of action, you have to pay taxes on the money that you get if it was replacing income. But under workers' comp,
just touch on the subject that if you do get a settlement under workers' compensation, you pay 0 taxes. So you pay no tax on the money that we do obtain for you.